Well, guys, what's up? What's going on out there today? Yes, it is Brent Abel here at webtennis.com with another episode of the Daily Fundy. That's what we're working on this month, January 2025. Basically, trying to convince you that mastering the fundamentals of the game of tennis, that's the advanced stuff. There's nothing else. There's no magic fairy dust after that that only the advanced players really know. No one else does. That's baloney. If you watch the top players, my God, they make the game look so easy because they've mastered the fundamentals, not only on swing tech, but on court positioning, on shot choice, emotional control between points, side changes, all that. And so I got this message way back in the day from the great legendary Northern California tennis coach Tom Stowe. And one day he told me in no uncertain, not sugar-coated terms, Mr. Abel, when you master the fundamentals of the game of tennis, that's the advanced stuff, and that's when you become a real player. And so, what I got to convince you of, if I haven't already done so this month, January 2025, is that message that I got from him that the advanced stuff is nothing more than just mastering the fundamentals of the game. And each day, we're going to go through, like we did the first 7 days. Today's January 8th. First 7 days, we worked on, some very specific fundamentals. The soft hands, right? The instant shoulder turn to prep the racket, exhaling right through contact, spacing, right? Using foot, I mean, footwork is really um, a better term is spacing. Using your feet to be able to create the spatial distance that you need away from the path of that incoming ball, no matter what shot it is, so that you don't have to improvise stroke technique, right? You get to simplify stroke technique so you get to make it repeatable and sustainable, right? We worked on the Fed head, which was what do you do at contact, right? Rather than sneaking a peek right before contact to see what's going to happen out there, you absolutely trust, as we see Roger, as he used to do, is just keeping his eyes right there at contact, way out to the finish. Totally trusted that he didn't need to see, and we don't either. We don't need to actually get visual confirmation of what of the shot that we're about to play or the shot that we just played. Right. Next thing that we worked on is target. What's a better target for your shot choice? And then yesterday, of course, we talked about just being smooth. Right. So look, today what I want to do is I want to do kind of a little tough love reality check in terms of what it takes to actually turn a fundamental, whether it's stroke technique, whether it's tactical, whether it's mental, whether it's fitness, whatever it is, but what do we really have to do to turn one of these fundamentals into the advanced stuff? Look, before we get into it, if you've not yet taken a look at the course that I've got, the 5 mini mindset skills training course that builds confidence. And if you're getting tight, end of sets, end of matches, or maybe just tight throughout the whole thing, I got to help you get over that. And the way to do it is through this course that I've got that completely changed my game over the last few years from a decent career to what is now, it's been the missing piece for me. And so, look, if you've not yet done so, I want to get you inside this course because the reality is mental toughness, all this stuff gets built first off of the tennis court. When we're done today, if you've not yet done so, the link is right down below in the description area. I want you to check it out. And yeah, so look, um, how do we turn a fundy into the advanced stuff? And there's really two things that we have to do. And if you don't do this, then to me it's like, and I used to do this, I used to kind of wait around for this big, even though I now believed in the fundamentals or the advanced stuff, I was waiting around for that big light bulb to go off, right? That big epiphany or aha moment that would magically just insert this thing into my brain so that I would now have it and it would just happen right then and there, right? And the reality is, I had lots of big epiphanies, medium sized epiphanies, and small ones, and nothing happened until I did these two things. And they're basically reps and rehearsals. Reps are the on court things that we do to take that epiphany of a fundamental and work on it like a dog, work on it insanely, obsessively over and over and over again. And it may be like for me with a couple of the fundamentals, it's just going to be a never ending reps process. I'm going to always continue to work on these things just because I don't think it's at least for me, it's never ever been completely like riding a bike. Like once you get it, oh, okay, well, it's there forever. So that's the on-court stuff is going to be the reps. And what does that mean? Well, what that means is that you got to call somebody, you got to call a practice partner, or you got to text, you got to email, or do whatever, Pony Express them, or smoke signal. I don't know, but you got to get a practice partner out there so that you can do the reps that you need to do to take this Fundy into the advanced stuff level. So you got to find a practice partner and you got to schedule. If you don't do that, it's never going to happen. You might totally understand the fundamental, but until you get some on-court reps on a regular basis, never ever going to turn that thing into the advanced stuff. The rehearsals part is off the court. The rehearsals is, look, I mean, we don't need a tennis ball off the court at home to rehearse, especially in front of a mirror, so that you see what you look like with this Fundy that you're working on. I mean, once you get that image in your brain at home in front of a mirror and you see yourself performing the Fundy exactly the way that you want to do it, and then you take it out in the court with that practice partner and you do the reps, I mean, that's when it all starts to happen. So these two areas, reps and rehearsals, are absolutely crucial to being able to turn a fundamental into the advanced stuff. And look, let me give you just a little hint here on when you're working on the reps on the court. Start off with a very slow moving tennis ball, right? You might have rehearsed this thing at home and you got it nailed at home and you look perfect in front of that mirror doing it. But if you guys start, like if you're working on a topspin forehand, for example, and you guys start at the baseline and that guy over there's hitting his standard, whatever it is, forehand or backhand, trying to work it over to your forehand that you want to work on, whatever the Fundy is for that forehand, the ball's just coming in too fast. It's coming in so fast that the only thing that your brain can really think about and consider, well, when's this thing going to arrive? And if you're working on something like an instant shoulder prep turn or whatever that we've worked on so far, the first 7 days, it's just going to be overridden by that whole thought of when's this thing coming in? So look, I like to start off slow. I like to have someone, if I'm going to work on a fundamental, I want to start off really slow with them underhand feeding me a ball. Obviously, get them off to the side. Don't put them in the middle of the court right there in front of you. But get them off the side in the single sideline and just have them underhand one bounce feed to you. Again, using the topspin forehand as an example, so that you can feel whatever the fundamental is, whatever that Fundy is, without being too concerned about how fast is this ball arriving. And then once you do that, and once you've worked in the fundamental, you can go back to the other side, take that little bag or basket of balls, and then start racket feeding from the net, where again, it's a slow ball feed. You got to work your way up from underhand to a slow racket feed to then being able to go back to the baseline and ask that guy, look, man, don't hit me your 100% power, um, whether it's a forehand or backhand, as you're trying to set me up, with whatever you want to work on. See if they won't go like 50% power so that you really get an opportunity to feel, to think about, to be conscious of that Fundy. And once you get it, then you start to really just kind of drive it into your brain, just really kind of groove it to where you just think so much less and less and less about that, about making that Fundy kind of manufacturing it. So those are the two things. You got to schedule a practice partner. You got to schedule a time often, a lot with the on-court reps. And look, the off-court at-home rehearsals, how often can you do that? A lot, right? I mean, you can get in front of a mirror, you can get your racket out there, you can swing it, you can do whatever you want to, whatever Fundy you're working on. But if you were to do it like 2 minute, little 2 minute sessions, again, like let's take the topspin forehand, for example, little 2 minute sessions a few times a day. Wow, that would be That would be really good for turning a fundamental into the advanced stuff. So, look, guys, before I do a little bit deeper dive on what I've got for you with this mindset training, I want to hear from you down below in the comments area. What's on your mind today from today's episode of the Daily Fundy? And really, reps and rehearsals. I want to know. I love reading your stuff and responding to it. So write down below, let me know. Look, if you love today's episode, please click the like button wherever that might be on the page. And if you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, to my YouTube channel, make sure that you do so that you're always alerted every time I go live and or upload new content. So look, guys, playing tight, man, that's no fun. And that's just me. I remember when I started playing tournaments, I was literally tighter than a snare drum. I could play a guy in practice super close. And I remember this one match I played against a guy who I played a lot in practice, and we were pretty even. I would take sets off the guy from time to time. And then we just happened to both enter the same tournament, and we we drew each other in the first round. I was so tight. I was so nervous. It was brutal. I lost this guy 0-0, and it was, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 minutes total in the court. And I remember after the first set, we were switching sides, and he says to me, or we were taking a break, and he goes, "What's going on?" I go, man, I got no idea. I mean, I could not get a ball back in the court. And so, look, what I've come up with over the years is how to stop playing tight. And what I've done is realize that you got to build this stuff off of the court first. That old message about, hey, if you want to get confident, you got to go out there and win. Wait a minute, how do I win if I'm not confident? And that message, so that whole thing just never ever worked for me. What I've put together for you, if you are getting tight on the court at the end of sets or the end of matches, or look, if you're playing a whole lot better as I was in practice than you do in the real deal matches, could be a tournament, could be a league match, maybe it's just a serious practice match. We got to get through that because for me now, I play so much better in matches, the real deal matches, than I do in practice, and it's really because of these five mini mindset habits that I've developed, certainly recently, but over the years as well. I put together a course. I've got over 150 players so far over the last couple of years that have signed up and enrolled for this course. And by the way, I just got an email last night from a guy who just won a tournament. And he said he bought the course a year ago just because he was mortified after playing, kind of like what I just described. Um, and he lost to a guy he thought he should never ever lose to. Bought the course, got into it, and he said he was thrilled. He just won a tournament. So, look, normally this is a $197 course. Right now, for just 77 bucks during the month of January 2025, I'm going to hold that price for you. Uh, right down below is a link. If you've not yet checked it out, click the link, get inside the course. And yeah, looking forward to helping you. Guys, that's it for me today. Hope today's episode has been helpful. As always, it's time we got to get out there. We got to help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, see you again tomorrow.